Okay, everyone, I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here today. Happy International Education Week, and welcome to the Semesters Away Study Abroad Fair Kickoff. I will repeat again, it's best if you set it to speaker view. That way you can see me and my slides large because I've got images to go with each thing that I'm talking about today. So I would encourage you to do speaker view so you can follow along with what I'm doing. We are recording this session for students who couldn't make it today. And also, you're welcome to put questions in the chat, or we'll also have time for questions at the end. So I've left some time for Q&A for sure. Can somebody in the chat let me know that you can see the slides and everything okay? Let me go here. Okay, there we go. Can somebody in the chat let me know if you can see that it says Semesters Away Study Abroad Fair Kickoff? Perfect. Thank you, James. Okay. So welcome everybody. Happy International Education Week. I'm here to talk about Semesters Away. I am Heather Powell Brown. I'm the Director of Global Education, Assistant Director, not Director. I'm the Assistant Director of Global Education at CC. I work mostly with semester and year-long study abroad. And so I'm going to have information for you today all about how to plan in this crazy time for a semester or year study abroad. I would like to start with an acknowledgement of the land that we inhabit. So we acknowledge that Colorado College is located on unceded lands of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapaho people, and that there are 48 contemporary tribal nations historically tied to the land that makes up the state of Colorado. We recognize that the land has long held indigenous languages, ideas, bodies, creations, and movements, and that we who are here today should pay respect to all who stewarded this land throughout the generations and work to dismantle ongoing legacies of settler colonialism, which still impact this land and those who share it. I would also like to acknowledge that this is February's Black History Month, and our office wishes to acknowledge that the cultures, languages, traditions, peoples, and movements of Africa and the African diaspora form a vital part of the global community as well as our nation. We celebrate the countless ways in which their presence, their struggle, and their lives are essential to the past, present, and future of our nation, our world, and all of our lives as part of a global community. We realize that we cannot celebrate International Education Week without acknowledging the historical inequities and injustices which exist, as well as the incredible contributions, innovations, and inspirations which continuously emerge from Africa and the African diaspora. So here's an overview of the things I'm going to be talking about today in this information session. So I like to always know kind of where I'm going when I'm in an information session like this. So we're going to talk through goals for study abroad, program options, contingency plans and COVID, how to apply and deadlines, aid and scholarships. We're going to introduce our new peer advisor program and show you how to find that, and talk about next steps. So you can, if you want to hold your questions till I get to that section to make sure I don't already cover your question, or you can put it in the chat, we'll answer it later on as we go. I would encourage you all, if you have a piece of paper or a Word doc or something on your computer, taking notes can be really helpful. As I go through this, I'm going to be talking a lot about goal setting, and the follow-up steps will include talking to your academic advisor and getting their approval of your semester or your year abroad plan. So notes can be really helpful. So I would encourage you to take notes as we go along. About things you need to do, about what your goals are, about types of programs that sound interesting to you, deadlines, those sorts of things. So the first thing that we think about when we talk about semester and year-long study abroad, so there's lots of options for study abroad at CC. I know this year has been a little different than most, obviously, but we still hope that a semester, a year-long study abroad experience can be a part of everybody's time at CC. So the first thing to think about, and one of the first things that I usually ask students when we talk about study abroad, because semester and year-long study takes a bigger chunk of your time at CC, right? So thinking about goals can be really helpful. Students can have different academic goals for study abroad. So there may be specific courses that you would like to take. You may wish that it would count towards a major or minor requirement, or you might just be doing it for one of the many broad elective credits that you get as part of your CC degree. You can work on setting academic goals by talking with your academic advisor, right? So the liberal arts curriculum at CC is built with lots of flexibility for most students, right? Lots of electives are built in to your time here, or free courses, so to speak. And so it's up to you how you use those when it comes to studying abroad for a semester or a year. So thinking about what are your academic goals? Sometimes I frame it to students, what's the minimum and the maximum academically that you would like to do or need to do while you're studying abroad? So you could say, I have to get one class towards my political science major, or I would like to fulfill the language requirement entirely. Or I'd like to do an all college requirement and a major requirement, or something like that, right? That you articulate for yourself what your academic goals are. And I'll give you some tips on that as we go on through the session today. Personal goals. Everybody has different personal reasons for why they want to study abroad. I think sometimes those have to do with independence or challenge in a good way, supported challenge, I would say. Living on your own, living in a big city, living in a rural area, doing field work. There's lots of different personal types of experiences and goals you may have. So you might find it helpful to think about what those are when you're thinking about what study abroad you'd like to do. Linguistic, I mentioned that before. Programs have all different levels of language prerequisites, from absolute beginner to advanced. In general, the more language you've taken, the more options you'll have. So for example, some programs in South America they only will take students who've taken through 305 here, so they're at the advanced level. Others are open to absolute beginners. We've got languages that you can study abroad, Twi and Swahili and Hungarian and Chinese, and all kinds of programs that offer languages that you may have never studied before. And so students often may have a specific linguistic goal in mind. Skill building. Many programs offer internships or research and different kinds of academic classroom models, some with a lot of independence, directly enrolling in a host institution. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But think about, is there something in particular you'd like to learn how to do, or get better at, or try for the first time? Independent research, working in a lab, doing some sort of an internship program, volunteering in the community. That can be helpful as well. So I would jot down some of those things if I were starting the process for myself. Any other considerations? So you may also have some accessibility needs, either for a physical or a invisible disability that you have, or accessibility need, special learning modality, consideration medications. Accessibility resources can help with those questions. They have a section on their website about accessibility and study abroad. I'm happy to help if you have specific questions, if you need to do some research into the country. You may also think about timing of the program. So some students may be working around other commitments. Although right now it feels like we're all just, sitting at home or in our dorm rooms. There's not as many events being planned, but hopefully by next year, you may be planning around something in particular that you need to be here or back from your study abroad in order to participate in those. Thinking about when is best. So one of the things I'm going to talk about when I get to the part about COVID contingencies, we're hoping you can see all the information on our website about planning for study abroad in 2021. I encourage all students, think broadly about what semester works best for you. I always give this advice, whether it's COVID times or not COVID times. Fall semester tends to be the more popular semester to go abroad, but given the uncertainty right now, you might think about doing a backup plan, figuring out if maybe spring, depending on the country you're interested in studying in. If you couldn't go in the fall, do you have a backup plan? Would spring work instead? And thinking about courses that may only be offered in your major in one semester versus the other. Spring might be a better option for spring of 2022. So I'll talk about the applications open now for both semesters, and so I'll talk about both. So, and then also students go anytime from spring of their sophomore year, generally for a semester abroad, anywhere from spring of your sophomore year through fall of your senior year. It really depends on the type of program that you're applying for. So, um, you know, if it's a very advanced level program abroad, like let's say you want to do Euro Scholars, which is a lab-based European academic research lab, you might be able to do a more cool research project if you're a fall semester senior year student, right? If you've taken more classes in your field, if you've done more lab work, there may be prerequisites for the program you're looking for, but conversely, it might be a wide open program without a lot of prerequisites, and it might work better for you to do it earlier. So spring of your sophomore year, for example. So that's kind of a conversation that differs for every student in terms of what you've taken, what your major requires, if there's certain sequencing classes that you should take at certain times. But thinking about which semester can be really different for every student. So a lot of the screenshots that I've got today come from our website. If you just search the word global in the CC website, you'll pop up our website. There is tons of information on there, and everything I'm saying today is going to be on there as well. There's guides and there's links and there's deadlines. So in case you forget something I've said, there's different types of programs. When you go to our website, you'll see that under global education, which is the section I work with, we break it out. These are just the first 6 menu items, but you can see on there, we break it out by duration of when you want to study abroad, right? So there's blocks, there's summer, and there's semesters off campus. I'm going to be focusing today on the semesters off campus because that's the fair that we're talking about. I'm going to show you where to find that virtual study abroad fair and how to get all the information about semesters off campus. So when you click on that off-campus semesters link, here's what you'll see. And I'm going to talk a little bit about all of these. I'm not going to go into great detail on things like credit transfer because there's a video on our website and lots of information there, but I will show you how to navigate and how to find all the information you're looking for. So if you click on semesters off campus, here's the menu you'll see on our website. And again, everything I'm saying today and more is all listed there in case you forget or that you want to review something or access one of the tools that I'm going to talk about today. So when you click this first item, semester programs, it'll pull up the static, long, approved list of programs. There's about 180 different semester and year-long programs that you can go on. I am aware that that is overwhelming sometimes, right? There's a lot of really great programs. So I'm going to give you today some tools and ideas about how different ways you could approach the process of finding the right program for you. Strategies other students have used. There's no one right way. These are all really good programs that have all been approved by CC. But there's a lot of options. So I'm going to give you some things to think about, some tools that you might want to look at when you're thinking about studying abroad. So there's a long list here. Each of the items, if you click you see both the Colorado College programs that are led by our faculty and our exchange programs, as well as all the approved programs underneath that. So we work with a number of partner programs and universities all over the world, and those are listed on our website by program provider. And if you click on the name, it'll expand out all of the programs within that, like all the locations or cities that we approve to look through. So that's what you see when you click the semester programs link. There's also, there's a video from me kind of about planning. There's some questions to talk to your advisor about. There's some tools on there under semester programs. One helpful lens at the get-go when you're looking at this list of programs and when you look at the virtual fair page, which I'll show you on the next screen, it's helpful to realize there's a lot of different program models represented from this list. And I don't have the website divvied up by this type of programs, but it's helpful to think about what kind of these options, which one of these sounds kind of like what you're interested in doing or what you might be leaning towards. And so CC programs, those are on the block plan. That's with semester faculty. I mean, that's with CC faculty, and it's a semester or a half semester on the block plan. So you're taking classes with CC students and CC faculty. There's often the same calendar you're used to in terms of 3.5 weeks, Sometimes it goes a little bit longer depending on if you're there to go to a festival or a fair or something that is on a weekend, right? Your calendar might be a little different to take advantage of local opportunities. But CC programs are listed at the top of our page and on our virtual fair page. And that highlights all the ones that are led by CC faculty. If you're interested in a CC faculty-led study abroad program, I recommend that you contact the faculty member who directs that. That's usually the best way to get started to ask questions. There's videos that I'll show you on the next page that you can watch to get kind of an overview of the program. But talking to the professor about what's required, are there any prerequisites? Do they do interviews for admission? That type of thing. So the next three is kind of the traditional, the next three are the traditional sort of models that you may have heard about for study abroad, or you may have friends that have done. So direct enroll means that you're taking classes at a host institution side by side with peers from that country. Direct enroll programs normally have lots and lots of course options, right? You're enrolling at the University of Buenos Aires. There are 500,000 students there, they think. It's a huge sprawling network of campuses and various faculties, right? That's an example of direct enroll. We have exchange programs with some direct enroll schools like Sciences Po in France, London School of Economics. Those are all direct enroll programs. You'll often have a partner or an international students office that's kind of your hub that helps you navigate course enrollment and any academic supports that you need, housing, orientation, but your classes would be in the classroom. The other kind of that, I guess not the opposite, but a different model is what we kind of call island programs. I put it in quotes because that's where you have a center that your program runs and your classes are typically with other American students. Faculty may be from the local faculty. They may be local community members, practitioners. So something like DIS or Syracuse programs or HECUA programs, SIT, they have a lot of community involvement. That's one of the reasons we picked them, right? We want to have you immersed in the culture, but your actual classes, and you have a center, a program center. You'll be taking classes at the program center school classroom space with usually students from US colleges in what we call an island. Then there's also hybrid programs. So for example, IES in Granada or some of the IFSA programs in Latin America. I know there's a lot of acronyms. I'm sorry about that. A hybrid would mean that you have a center and some of your classes are with American college students, right? Those are typically language classes or program seminars, right? Where you're taking stuff that local students wouldn't necessarily need with American students at a center run by the program, but then you may have an option to take one or two classes or more at a local university, right? So you can kind of hybrid together the two above that, the island model and the direct enroll model. If you have questions, you'll see as you start to look through programs pretty quickly which one of these models they fall into. But if you know you want a specific kind, I'm happy to go through my brain encyclopedia and help guide you to the ones that match what you're looking for. There's also programs that have field study. So there's the Carleton program in Tanzania. There's School for Field Studies is all field study programs. All SIT programs have the last month as either a research project or an internship. All HECUA programs have an internship. So field study and internship and research, many programs have those components and are designed specifically around those components. So thinking about, do I want a classroom experience? Is there a certain type of out of the classroom experience that I'd like to find? Using these words can really help in your search, and I can help guide you towards options if you're not finding what you would like to find. So virtual fair. We can't have our normal fair in Warner where you can walk around and walk up to tables and stand there awkwardly and try to think of questions and pick up materials and talk to the program representatives and the faculty. And I know the fair can be an overwhelming experience. There's a big list of programs there. We've tried as best we can to replicate this on our website. So on our website, there's a link to the virtual semesters fair, which is live now. This is a screenshot. It's very long. It's alphabetical. The CC programs are first, and then below that are all of the partner programs in alphabetical order. Many programs have recorded videos for this specific fair, right? So you can see Professor Pavlenko here for the CC in Russia program. There's other webinars that are archived on here. Some of them are just the general promotional video of the program. It's kind of cool though, because you can see, actually, you get to see it in a different way than you do if you're standing in Warner talking to a professor or talking to somebody representing the program. You can actually see a bit of the program in action on here. So I've also put information under every single video about how to get more information about that program, who to contact. Some of the programs have upcoming info sessions on Zoom that are just for CC students that are scheduled. And so if there are those, I've listed them underneath each video. Also though, on Today at CC and the Student Digest here, you can go there and I've put all of the upcoming info sessions. Many of those are next week. And there's new ones being added as we confirm those. So here's a couple, here's 3 that I have scheduled right now. This is on the Today at CC, that's what I screenshotted here. So, and that's kind of cool. Like for example, the one with IES Granada, that's actually with the director Javier in Spain. So he's gonna be, it'll be very late there, but he's gonna be logging in from Granada to talk with you. So, and to answer questions. Keep an eye on there, keep an eye on the digest. You can also set up individual calls with the program reps. So if you have a question about a specific program and you want to know more, talking to a specific person from that program, you can certainly request that. So take a look at the virtual fair page. Please explore that. There's lots of links on there, lots of videos. We've tried as best we can to replicate the fair experience and hopefully allow you to focus in different ways that you couldn't when you're in person walking around Warner picking up materials. I wanted to point out a couple other helpful tools that are on our website. So again, I know that when you look at the big long list of study abroad programs, when you look at the huge long fair page, there's a lot of options on there. And so I've really tried to give you as many tools and entry points and lenses to think about as you're thinking about what program you want to do. So I wanted to point out a couple other things on our website that might be helpful for you as you go through this process. And then I'll tell you how to actually go ahead and apply. In our website, there's a section called credit transfer. There's a ton of tools on there around the academics. You can search our course approval database for specific classes or requirements you're hoping to fulfill. But there's also a section of advising guides by interest. So many departments have worked with me to put together a guide, a short list of different programs, and it's sorted by majors or it's sorted by specific needs, duration of program, internships, film or media studies, refugee and immigration studies. There's lots of different programs groupings on here. So what I've done is I've gone and I've taken the whole big list and I've worked with departments or pre-health, there's one on pre-health, pre-professional tracks, and I've put together advising guides. So that's on our website under credit transfer. You might look to see if there's one for whatever your interests are. There is also on our website under credit transfer a central listing of all the departmental policies for study abroad. So every academic department at CC may handle study abroad a little bit differently. They may say that there's certain classes you have to take here. They may say that there's limits on how many, most have limits on how many classes abroad can substitute for something for the major. So that might be helpful if you're either undeclared or trying to pick between 2 majors, right? Look and see, what do they have a policy around study abroad credits? What is it? Is there things that I should know? Are there classes I should take before I do study abroad, right? Things I have to have in order to count stuff for the major. So take a look at that. Not all departments have an articulated policy, but many do. And so I encourage you to take a look there before you get too deep in the process. Also, I would say check your departmental webpage. So this is an example of the OBE page. They've got a very big section on study abroad and programs and how they count. So I would encourage you check there. Sometimes if I know about it, I'll link to it on our site. Sometimes new stuff pops up and I miss it. So take a look to see if your department says, yeah, we really recommend this program, or lots of students have done this. So then that's a bunch of tools about how to think about which programs you want to do, how to get information, how to access the virtual fair, how to use the resources that are on our website. I realize that COVID has changed a lot of things about how we plan for the future. We have tried to be very transparent. One thing that you'll see prominently on our website is a page on COVID-19 updates, just for study abroad. So there's a video of me with a video of me on the screenshot here, but there's a video from our director, there's a video from me, and there's a ton of information on here about criteria for studying abroad, things you should be asking your program. As you plan for study abroad and pick a study abroad program, we are here to work with you through all of the uncertainties that come. A couple of salient points that you should note: if CC has to cancel any study abroad program due to COVID, there will not be any charge financially to you as a student, right? So we're trying very hard to build in as much flexibility as possible. So you don't have to worry that by signing up for a program, you're somehow going to be charged all this money if it doesn't run, right? And I'll talk about money in just a second here, but keep that in mind. We have a review process that's on our website. So on this COVID-19's updates page, there is a whole listing of what are the criteria for a CC faculty-led program to run, right? What do we need to see? What are considerations that you as a student should be thinking about? If you're working with a partner program or university, check with them. All of our partner programs have ample information on their website about COVID adjustments and extended deadlines and flexible refund policies, and by what date will they announce if X and Y program is going to run, right? Of course, things change all the time. So we work with programs that have really good health and safety. But there's also a list on this page here, this COVID-19's updates page, of questions that you as a student should ask any partner university or program you're thinking of going abroad with, or keep in mind, right? Like, what happens? Is there quarantine required in that country when you arrive, right? When as countries make decisions about vaccine requirements, right, they'll be listing that there on their website. What happens if the program is canceled? Will I be able to do my classes virtually, right? Our programs have been really resilient and responsive during this whole pandemic. So our website here is a repository. There's lots of information on there that you and your family may want to go over so that you understand kind of how COVID may affect this plan that you're making. And then I would also say having a plan B backup idea for either a different program or a different term, right? So one of the things that I'm going to recommend that you do is talk to your academic advisor, right, about when does it make sense for you to go abroad, whether it's next fall or next spring or the whole year. But planning a backup, right? While you have them, say, okay, so here's what it would look like if I do fall, but what would happen if I do spring instead? How would I rearrange things? So that can be helpful. And then also thinking about backup programs in a whole different country, right? Like one of the programs that's run throughout the pandemic has been the sea semester sailing scientific research voyage, because you're on a tall sailing ship with like 15 students. So that's pretty safe, right? You can quarantine before you go, and that's been able to run. So, thinking about what your tolerance for risk is as you plan, thinking about what your backups are. That can be really helpful as you go through this process. So timeline, how to apply. I'm gonna screenshot on the next page where in Summit, what to look for. When you apply for study abroad, if you're doing just a CC faculty-led program, there's just the one application. Everything's in Summit. You always have to do an application in Summit. If it's a CC-led program, there's just the one application in Summit. So you go to Summit and look for the program application for the CC Latin America semester, for example. Or CC in France, or TREE semester, whatever it is that you're applying for that's run by CC, there's a separate application just for that. So you submit that, the faculty member will review it and get back to you on that. Um, if you're doing a partner program, so any of the partners that we work with, so again, HECUA, IES, London School of Economics, any of the other schools that are not run by CC faculty, that's what's called the CC internal application. And that is the one-stop shop that it's one application that you fill out in Summit. And that is for all of the things at CC related to your study abroad, right? So you tell us which program you want to do. You write a little bit about what your goals are, how long you're requesting your study abroad leave. So what blocks are you going in the fall? Are you going in the spring? Are you going for the whole year? Course approvals are figured out in Summit through the internal application. Your advisor reviews and approves your application, and you get your CC disciplinary clearance all through that one form. So that's open. If you want to apply for the fall, that's open until March 1st. If you want to apply for spring 2022, that's open now all the way until October 1st. You've got plenty of time, but you're welcome to fill it out now for sure. Filling out the internal application is not binding, that's worth noting. So by March 1st, you need to submit the internal application in Summit, but you have until May 1st to confirm or cancel what your plans are for fall. And that may be extended, you know, with COVID uncertainty, we've been extending that confirmation deadline. So the first step is to apply in Summit no later than March 1st. A couple CC programs have slightly later deadlines, and you can see those on Summit. But aim for March 1st if you want to plan for a study abroad in the fall. Here's a screenshot when you go to Summit. On your main page, you'll see something that says Start New Application. It should be the top option for you. And it's super, I think we tried to make it really easy. It should be for most students, the first option there, CC internal application for 2021-2022 off-campus study. So think of that as the internal application that takes care of everything at CC. And then in addition to that, you apply with the program themselves, right? So you go to the DIS website or you go to the HECUA website and you look up what do they require, right? What do you have to submit to them? You can do those two things concurrently. You don't have to do one and then you don't have to do the CC one first, but it's worth noting that I can't, most programs, if you're doing a partner program, most programs want me to say, they send me a form to fill out as your study abroad advisor, asking me to verify that you've been approved by CC. And if you haven't done the internal application, I can't fill that out for the program, right? So most students start with the CC Summit application, do that first, it's pretty short. And then do their application for the program. One of the last things that I want to talk about, financial aid and scholarships. So I am really pleased that semester and year-long study abroad at CC is very easily and fully supported by your normal financial aid that you get, as well as there's many options for additional extra aid, right? So there's no separate application. Some of you may have done blocks or summer programs through CC before. There is a separate application, or there's a separate pool for financial aid that's built into the application. When you do a semester or year-long study abroad, we take the aid that's already been earmarked for you as a student and we apply that to the total cost of your program. So there's nothing separate you need to fill out for CC. We do have some tools on our website. So this is a screenshot of the billing and finances page. And there's a bunch more information on here, but this is just the top. There's a quick guide there, but there's also this aid calculation worksheet, which can be really helpful for any student to find out how much does this program cost, right? We are a homeschool tuition school when you study abroad. And what that means is since you're earning a semester's worth of CC credit, you pay CC's tuition for the semester abroad instead of the program's tuition. So whether the program's tuition is more expensive than CC or less than CC, you substitute out that item with CC's tuition. And then instead of paying CC room and board, because you're not living at CC, you're not eating meals here at CC, you are charged the program fee for wherever the program is that you go, right? So if you go to Buenos Aires, again, to pick on them, it might be $5,000 a semester. If you are in Shanghai, it might be $8,000 a semester. It depends on the program and what's included in that. But the aid calculation worksheet, it's also just a budget worksheet, so you can use that to figure out the total cost of your program. Also on our website, there's a listing of scholarships like Gilman. If you get a Pell Grant currently, there's a federal scholarship called Gilman that you can apply for study abroad. There's information about other outside scholarships. Many of our partner programs have lots of money to give for financially, both merit and need-based. So make sure to look at the program website if you're doing a non-CC program and see, do they have extra aid that you can apply for? Also, if you are a work study student, I wanted to specifically mention that we have a grant that can help replace your work study. So if you normally work on campus to earn money towards your education, um, you can qualify to have that replaced with just a grant that you don't have to pay back, that you don't have to work for, because most of the time when you're a student abroad, you can't work. So please take a look at all of the financial aid information, but the bottom line is study abroad should be as affordable. We've tried very hard to make it as affordable as um, being on campus at CC. So we've got aid to go towards your total cost of attendance for study abroad. So that does include things like airfare, anything that's required to do the study abroad program. And then the last thing that I would love to encourage you to do is talk to a peer about your options for study abroad. And I am so extremely excited and proud that we have just launched our global outreach, or our GO team. So these are peer advisors. There's 27 of them listed on our website. You can scroll through and read. Every student on there has indicated the programs that they did, their major, their minor, how to contact them, their pronouns, and then also all the things they could talk to you about. So there's representatives of the Bridge Scholars Program abroad, students that have disability or accessibility issues, LGBTQIA, different pre-health track, athletes abroad, pretty much anything you could think of, right? They've indicated on there what they would be open to talking with you about. So you can scroll through there. That's on our website under Global Education. It's its own page, Global Outreach Team, Peer Advisors, and they are standing by, eager, waiting to talk with you about study abroad and what program they did. So please take a look and contact them directly if you'd like to, talk with them either about the program they did or about any of the things that they list on there. And the last slide here is next steps, and then we'll go to questions. So the next steps for you, there's a lot, I've given you a lot of information about how to get more information about programs, how to look at the different videos. Most students know the next step is discuss your goals with your academic advisors. So if you haven't already done that, if you don't know kind of what you're looking for, it's really hard to find what you're looking for, right? So I would discuss your goals with your academic advisor first. If you need help with your advisor, you can also meet with the advising hub. Some departments have a specific person that does study abroad queries, so check with the department to see if there's a faculty member in particular you should talk to. Explore all of the web resources and attend the info sessions that are coming up. Again, everything I've said today is on our website, so that if you are a visual person or like to look at a written document, it's all there, deadlines and worksheets. And talk to faculty again if it's a CC led program. Talk with your faculty member who's leading it. And then once you've done all those things, you can certainly email me to request an advising session. So if you've accessed these resources, you've watched the videos, you've attended the info sessions, or if you have a really specific thing that you're not seeing or not finding, or a question about a accessibility need or something that you'd like some help with, you can certainly email me. I'd be happy to set up an appointment. Again, my name is Heather Powell Brown. So my email address is just my initials, hpb@coloradocollege.edu. It's helpful for me if you tell me in that email, kind of what you've already done, what you're thinking of, and some specific times that you would be available to meet. That way I can just find a time and write back with a Zoom link for you.